What's up, otakus? Your tour guide here with another top comic book covers video. And today it's going to be a very special edition because we're going over the top Spider-Man covers in my collection. Now, I had to kind of define what I mean by Spider-Man covers, and the only reason is because I have a bunch of covers in my collection where Spider-Man is on the cover, and technically that should count, but for example, like a cover like this where he's not necessarily the focal character, he's just one among a many, one among many characters on the cover. I feel like that necessarily would not count. I've got some fantastic covers where he's on there. Some other ones like this one, for example. Yeah, I mean, this one, he's on there, but he's not the focal point. So would this count as a Spider-Man cover? And if so, I mean, would this warrant? This is a classic cover. I mean, this is one of the best covers, I think, of the Copper Age. To be honest, this is just an image you see everywhere on T-shirts, anything to do with Marvel, anything to kind of showcase the Marvel universe. I mean, this has all your favorite characters on there, like Iron Man, Hulk, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, X-Men, Captain America's right there, front and center. And Wolverine's there, but this isn't particularly a cover that highlights him, so I wouldn't feel comfortable putting this, even though it's one of my favorite covers, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting this in the best Wolverine covers per se. So, but I am gonna put it on. So I've kind of delineated what I mean by Spider-Man covers, and having said that, I'm gonna put this at number 20. So we're going with the top 25 covers in my collection, and I'm just putting this in the top 20 because that's such a great image by Mike Zeck of Spider-Man. And yeah, even though he's not a focal point, he is like a focal point in the Marvel universe. So when you're looking at a cover like this, you see all the characters, and of course Spider-Man's, he's just one of the best characters on this cover. So I'm just gonna make an exception with this cover only, and man, what a great cover it is. This is Secret Wars number 1. Great the classic legendary cover by Mike Zeck. Probably one of the first times you saw like all the characters come in and work together, and it really just sort of kicked off more of these like inter-team type storylines. Now they're just so commonplace, but you got to remember back, when this first came out, to have this kind of, sort of collection of all the heroes was rare to see. So just wanted to highlight this one, and we're moving on now to number 19. And yeah, this is a Miles Morales variant. It's the Immortal variant. Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 10. And this is a cover by Emanuela Lupacchino. And this is like it folds out and it shows Miles's face kind of doing this like Venom effect, where he's kind of like, you know, turned to one side and you see his face, and then the suit covering his face like you normally would for like a Venom suit. But of course this is a little different, and yeah, just a great cover. And again, it's a Emanuela Lupacchino cover, and I'm really excited to see what Marvel's gonna do with Miles Morales in the movies. I'm happy to see it, and hopefully, you know, I have a young son right now. He's not into comic books or anything like that, but at some point, I'm sure he'll get into them, and it'll be nice to see him. You know, if he does get into Spider-Man, it'll be nice to see him connect with his generation's version of the character rather than my generation's. And this is another cover here. This is number 18 on my list. And I just have, I really like Dr. Octopus covers. I've gone over this fact several times in a lot of my videos, and it's just the reason I like Dr. Octopus is because the covers are always there's always action. The tentacles have a life of their own, and it's just kind of like you have this guy who's so menacing, so threatening, but he's really not doing anything. It's his mental connection with these arms that are doing all the damage, and Spider-Man's always having such a difficult time with that. So this is just a great cover by Alex Saviuk, and this is actually you know, right before Todd McFarlane takes over the title, and of course, you know, McFarlane does just an amazing run of Spider-Man, but I really I think if there's one cover that McFarlane hasn't done, it is Dr. Octopus, which I find really odd. It would have been nice to have a McFarlane Doc Ock Spider-Man cover, but it's really odd that it never happened. But maybe at some point we'll see that before you know, well, maybe we won't. Todd's, you know, he left Marvel in such horrible terms. I can't see him doing anything for Marvel. Sounds like he's still very bitter over his experience there, but anyway, this is a great Doc Ock black suit Spider-Man cover. I love the purple, and again, it's always a little campy. I've conquered my fear of you, Spider-Man. Today, Dr. Octopus wins. They're always campy covers, a little campy with the Doc Ock covers, but that's why you love comic books and you love Spider-Man. So the Alex Saviuk cover here, and these are kind of like related. So this is Miles Morales number 9, I believe. Yeah, Miles Morales number 9. And this is the Pasquale Ferry cover. And really this is, I believe it's like the 85th or 75th anniversary wraparound cover. And so, as you can see, there's all the Marvel characters. Really, it's like you have, what's beautiful about this cover is you have Miles as the focal point of the cover, but he's also here He's also here somewhere, and there he is. He's also here on the cover, and you have just all the, you know, sort of the old school characters mixed in with the younger, new school generation of characters. And so I just like this sort of slice in time as this cover ages. You're just going to get a glimpse at, okay, this is where Marvel was at this time, moment in time. And you get to see like how the characters look. Yeah, and see all the characters that Marvel's kind of promoting here. And this is when I envision what the MCU is going to look like in a few years. This is pretty much, I think, what we can expect. All the characters here, these are their, you know, a lot of their, a lot of the future and a lot of the past, right here on this great cover. So again, this is Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man number 9, variant covered by Pasquale Ferry. It's the anniversary wraparound cover. And really this is, this cover is very similar in concept. I mean, it is the same in terms of the concept as this cover. Now, this is the original wraparound, and this is the 25th anniversary wraparound cover. And as you can see, again, this is another slice in time, the 25th anniversary. These are all the characters and what they look like. You know, I believe this was a 1986. So this is what was kind of like hot in 1986, and how the characters looked. You had Fantastic Four with the Fantastic Five, technically, with She-Hulk, right? Which is cool. I do really hope that She-Hulk becomes part of the Fantastic Four. That'd just be cool to have that old team, the Fantastic Four with She-Hulk there. Yeah, who else is here that's special? You see the X-Men down there, X-Factor. But yeah, I mean, these characters haven't changed all that much. You have Black Suit Spidey. Yeah, haven't changed that much at all. And so that was the big thing at this time, the Black Suit Spidey. And I really like the Black Suit Spidey. I wish they could bring back the Black Suit somehow, but of course the Black Suit now is a character all his own. It's Venom, essentially, so we will never get that. Now, this next key is it's a key book. This is the first appearance of Billy Morales, who's the sister of Miles, and you know, she just appears in this book as a little tiny cute baby. And I know this is a hot book right now because there's rumors that she's going to come, she's going to be featured in a book and featured as a villain or a challenge to Miles from a different, like a multiverse type scenario. And that'll be interesting to see that character, you know, Miles' sister, become some kind of like anti-hero villain. I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out. Maybe she'll become a hero and have her own, you know, book and series. I hope we see that, to be honest. But yeah, you know, it'll probably translate into some kind of movie or something at some point, the character. Billy Morales character. So excited to see that. And this is just a beautiful cover by Javier Garron. All right, we're on number 14 here, and this is the Amazing Spider-Man, number 150. And this is just a great Gil Kane cover. I like this cover because not that it features like the Sinister Six or anything like that. It's really only focusing on 3 villains: Sandman, Vulture, and the Kingpin. But just a great Gil Kane cover featuring 3 great villains, and again having all of those great sort of action sequences. You see, him going through like a car windshield, just getting attacked left and right, and then that great center shot of him just kind of losing his head and saying, "What's going on? This is a nightmare, or am I going mad?" So that's what's great about these kinds of covers. And this is, was kind of promoted, marketed as, this is it, Webhead's 150th issue, which, I just like this cover a lot. So that's that. Let's start with this one here. So we've got number 13. We've got Spider-Man, number 1, and this is just an iconic cover by Todd McFarlane. I think this has to be up there in terms of most homaged covers. I mean, you see this pose. I think I just recently did my Batman, my top Batman covers, and you saw this pose. Batman doing this pose is a cover by David Finch, I believe, that kind of swiped this image by Batman. You have this Spawn doing it. I mean, it's just been such an overdone cover, but I mean, you can understand why. There's just so much detail in the webbing, the pose itself. It really is a cover that kind of draws you in, and great work by Todd. Yeah, this is, I talk about my like Jim Lee covers that are like his all-star 100-point game type covers. This is definitely one of McFarlane's like MVP cover games, and probably one of the best works he'll be best known for. Now this book, I believe, is like the 2nd best-selling comic book of all time, behind Jim Lee's X-Men 1 cover. This one sold like 2 million copies. This is also just one of those ridiculous books that just sold extremely well. And you can see why. Just a beautiful cover. And then so number 13 is Spider-Man 1, and then exactly a year later, Todd swipes his own cover, or homages himself. That doesn't sound pleasant. Self-homage to himself. He pays homage to himself. With the black suit Spider-Man this time, and the red spiders. I just was like, when I saw this cover, first of all, that the impact that first cover made with the Spider-Man 1, that impact that Spider-Man 1 made was huge. Then when this cover came out with the black suit, you were just like, what? No, he did not do that. And this is so much of a cooler cover. I mean, they're both cool covers, you know, they're both really nice covers, but for me, this version of the cover, just because I think the black suit is just a cooler like visual for Spider-Man. That's just my personal opinion, and yeah, this definitely captured everything that first cover did, but again, just with the black suit, so it just made it, and the red spiders just made it so much cooler. Okay, so yeah, 1312 is good old Todd McFarlane, and we're getting into like sort of the heavy hitting books now, and what I'm gonna do here is gonna look over, and we're getting into the heavy hitters now. So next book, speaking of black suits and iconic covers, we have The Web of Spider-Man #1. And again, this is another just iconic cover. I think also undervalued. You know, you can get this for like $20. And so if you find it, definitely get it. This is a cover by Greg LaRocque, and just a beautiful gargoyle cover. You know, this is reminiscent of really of a Batman cover. It has all the themes of a Batman cover, but of course Spider-Man's emerging from the fog. There you have the gargoyles. You have just an amazing black suit. This is one of the early black suit covers. Just a great, beautiful cover. All right, moving on. This is another. So 11. We're down to top 10. Number 10, we have Peach Momoko. Yeah, Peach does amazing covers, and this is no different. You've got sort of skyscrapers there. You've got so many things going on in this cover, but yeah, the center is Spider-Man, and she has these beautiful flowers, and there's webbing, there's a spider. Just yeah, she really went artistic on this one, and that's why I think I really gravitated to, because I wanted a Peach Momoko Spider-Man cover in my collection, and there were a lot of great Spider-Man covers there, but this is the one that really, I think, just captured who she is as an artist rather than captured the essence of the character. I promise, that's the one thing about, so, you know, everybody knows Jim Lee's my favorite artist, and this is a really early, I mean, look at that signature. Jim Lee's literally just kind of, you know, legibly writing his name. You don't see that anymore on his books. So that's sort of like an old school sort of signage for the cover, but beautiful cover by Jim Lee nonetheless, of the Punisher and of Spider-Man. Yeah. So, like I was saying, Jim Lee is not going to be on this list just because he doesn't have many works that he's done on Spider-Man. He has just not done a lot of Spider-Man. I think this cover, the previous Punisher book, also features Jim Lee Spider-Man, and then there's another. I believe it's. There's another cover anyway. I don't know exactly what book it is, but I want to say it's something he did on Avengers, maybe when he came back. But there is another Spider-Man, and I'm trying to get that one as well. I'm trying to get all the Spider-Mans that he's drawn from Marvel, get all those books, because I think he really, I mean, as you can see on this cover, he just has a great interpretation of Spider-Man, and it would have been nice to see him do a run on Spider-Man. Maybe we will before it's all said and done. I really hope Marvel and DC allow some of these older comic book artists to kind of have the freedom to work, you know, independently of, you know, these boundaries, the publishing boundaries, and let fans have what they want. So I would love to see McFarlane do a Batman run. I'd love to see McFarlane come back to Spider-Man. I'd love to see Jim Lee come back to X-Men and do an X-Men run, and do a Spider-Man run for sure. Maybe even do a Punisher run, you know. But kind of to have that, to see that would be amazing. But it's disappointing that you know, McFarlane, after he went to Image, he kind of got out of the whole comic book game, and he's only really doing stuff related to Spawn now. That's been, I think, disappointing. This is number 8 on my list. Now, I do not have the comic, and this is just an amazing cover by Eric Larson. We have Spider-Man in the reflection in the sights of Venom. Just all this wonderful detail, drool, green drool, pink tongue, all the jagged teeth that are just coming out of Venom. Just amazing. And mind you, you know, the Venom tongue thing didn't emerge until Billy Larson's take on the villain. So this is where you kind of first see the Venom tongue on a cover. And yeah, Larson had this really underrated but amazing run on Spider-Man, and really kind of did a great job taking over from McFarlane. You know, when McFarlane left. So yeah, and this is just such a classic cover. The black border. Again, Spider-Man's there in the reflection. Just a great close-up of Venom. You know, classic cover. Just a fan favorite. And the reason I don't have the book is because I got my copy's getting graded right now at CGC. So it's at CGC waiting to be pressed and cleaned at the moment, and then graded. I'm sure I'll get it back maybe, you know, 3-4 years from now, or when my kid's ready to go to college. I'll see that book. It's been a while since the book's been there. The book's been at CGC now for, yeah, it's been there 6 months. And you know, I've just heard so many people in their unboxing videos saying, yeah, it's been there for a year, it's been there for 2 years. So I'm just really trying to forget and like not dwell on the fact that, you know, my books are still there and not with me. But that'll just, all this waiting and all this anticipation with the grade will be able to just make that unboxing that much more exciting. So it's all good. Alright, so this was number 8. This is a book I just recently picked up for a really great price, considering, you know, I considering how just classic of a book this is. And it's what if number one, and it poses I think a question that anybody who's a Spider-Man fan has, I guess, thought about on some subconscious level, is because if you go back and read Spider-Man 1, that classic Stan Lee story, it's kind of just, it's a weird, like, he sets it up to be so random, it's like Spider-Man is trying to make money, right, for Aunt May, because they're in a lot of debt. His Uncle Ben died. They're kind of like struggling financially. He suits up as Spider-Man to make money, but he can't like cash checks, right? Which is just a weird thing to think about. Like Peter Parker, just as a college student, had just absolutely no like regular prospects. Like he can, he can like do something, and eventually that's what he does. He starts taking photographs for the Daily Bugle, and but I mean, he had, like, Stan Lee had to set all that up, and then he gets the idea, like, hey, I'll go and help out the Fantastic Four, and they'll pay me, and it was just this weird, like, weird story. Anyway, but the whole point is, like, they go to battle, and he kind of takes out the Fantastic Four. To be honest, he's holding his own for four against one. But he kind of poses the question, look, I just want to join you guys, and they're just kind of like, no, we're the Fantastic Four, not the Fantastic Five, and we're a non-profit, so we don't pay for your superhero services or whatnot, and which was a weird answer, right? Because here's the guy that just kicked them butts, and most people would be like, hey, would you like to join us? You'd be a great asset, great help to our team. And that's what this comic does. This comic gives more of like I think sort of the more rational timeline of what should have happened. And to be honest, well, I mean, you can't ever say had Stan merged this or created this team, created it as the Fantastic Five rather than Fantastic Four. You can't say that. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe that story would have bombed, and we wouldn't have Spider-Man and Fantastic Four around today. But the fact that they were, standalone books, Fantastic Four and Spider-Man separate books, I think was the better, like, overall path for these two iconic teams. So it's kind of like a collab between Buscema and Romita, which I think is very just cool. But the cover's just awesome. Fantastic Five with the fives on everybody's suits, and everybody kind of holding out 5 fingers, except the Thing, who has 4 fingers. This is number 7. Number 6 on my list is Web of Spider-Man number before. And I mentioned before, you know, just my love of Doc Ock covers. And this is a great cover by John Byrne. Yeah, John Byrne, you know, he did some of these early Web of Spider-Mans. He did the covers for them. And they're just beautiful covers. Yeah, like look at how just amazingly detailed and intricate this cover is. Again, you have that emotion that's such a common you know, thing we see in Spider-Man covers, and even in the panels, right? It's just, that's how there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of speed, power, all those things, and this just brilliant cover by John Byrne captures all of that. Also, you don't really see John Byrne do Spider-Man all that often. I mean, you do see that when he did the Fantastic Four run. You saw some Spider-Man mixed in here and there, but here you get a real nice close-up of Byrne's Spider-Man. And that's one thing. As you've noticed, you've seen just a bunch of artists featured in this countdown. You have McFarlane, you've got Larson, you've got Lee, you've got John Byrne. Really, I think if you're a comic book artist, at some point you're gonna put your, you know, you're gonna put your take of this character out there. Because ultimately, I think how well you draw Spider-Man is sort of a litmus test to how talented you are, to be honest. And so, yeah, if you ever get the assignment for Spider-Man, it's kind of like, it's validating you as, okay, you got the chops to be in the industry. And so, yeah, John Byrne definitely showing off his, and the other thing is, this is my signed copy, Stan Lee, just a beautiful signature there by the legend. And so this is just one of the absolute gems in my collection. And, yeah, just looking at this book, that signature, this cover makes me so happy. All right. And I do have number 5 on the list. And, yeah, I mean, if I had ASM 300 would definitely, I think, be in the top 5 as well. But I do not have that book, and I want it so badly. But you know, this is the next best thing. If I can't get that book, or if I can't have that book, the next best thing is this book, because it's ultimately like the exact same cover, except it's kind of like, I guess, like a reverse negative, whereas that 300 is red with a black suit. This is white in the red suit. So yeah, in terms of color scheme and all, it's just a very subdued version of 300. And this is like, I would say, you know, ASM 300 is the more dynamic cover, and this is the more classic cover, homaged cover. I'd say this is the most homaged cover in comic books. I mean, I can't verify that. I don't know if there's a way to verify that. I'm sure there's somebody out there, some geek out there, who's counted all the variants and the homage variants. But yeah, if you know which cover's been the most homaged or swiped or just, you know, comment below, let me know. But my money is on this cover. You know, these are all books that I've gone over for, and this is just a beautiful cover by John Romita Sr. Spider-Man number 89. And so when I was started collecting and growing up, this Romita, this was actually, I think, Romita continued to do covers and do work for ASM, but I think this was technically his last. So let's take a minute. So this is number 4. Great cover. We have like 3 sort of action panels, different angles of this encounter with Doc Ock, and just a great cover. The colors are what make it just amazing, you know, just all these great primary colors that are just popping out. Gives it a very, like, you know, a very strong Bronze Age, like, pop culture type feel to the cover. Same thing here. So this is the previous issue, 89. This is number 3 on my list. And so here Romita Sr. is doing the interior of the book. 88 does the interior of the book. And then in 89 he only does a cover. And, you know, Gil Kane takes over the interior work. And Kane goes on to King goes on to do more of the interior work, whereas Romita Sr. is doing a lot of the cover work. And so you kind of see sort of this like slow handoff to Gil Kane eventually, but that starts here with 89. But going back to 88, this is just a beautiful cover. And so ASM 50. So there are a lot of great Doc Ock Spider-Man covers. Of course, the grail of Doc Ock Spider-Man covers is ASM 3, which is the first appearance of Doc Ock. Now that is a comic book I'll probably just end up getting like a reprint of. It's the only way I could possibly own that comic book is just to have a reprint of it. But yeah, that's the only way. That the book itself, the original book, ASM 3 is, that's a pretty penny right there. Yeah. So it's a grail. If I do ever own a copy, I'm sure I'd have to sell stuff. so you know. And then you have there's other I think I'm probably gonna get the number wrong, but like ASM like 13 or something like that is also Doc Ock. And then there's that great Romita Sr. cover, ASM 56, I believe, 56 or 55, of close-up of Doc Ock. It's very similar to that Venom cover I showed before, where you have the reflection of Spider-Man, like a terrified, Spider-Man caught in the claws or the arms of Doc Ock, in the reflection of Doc Ock's goggles. So that Romita Senior, and that was around the time when Romita Senior takes over ASM. So you see the full, you kind of see it full circle. So you see that early Doc Ock cover that Romita Jr. or Romita Senior does, and even I think spoke about it in interviews where he said he was trying to mimic the Ditko style when he first took over, not only on the covers but in the interiors. He's really just trying to copy the Ditko style, and then transitioned into his own style for the book, which you see here. But I definitely want that ASM 56 or 55 of the Doc Ock close up. All right, so ASM 88 and 89, John Romita Senior, goodness. Now, so we're now at the top 2 covers in my collection. And so this is number 2. My copy of ASM 252. This is an homage to Amazing Fantasy 15. And what I really like about this cover is the first appearance of the black suit, and just an iconic image. And I got a pretty nice copy there in the 9.0. This is a book. This is a book I got. I don't want to say I got this when it first came out, because I didn't. I got it. I want to say like in the 89 or 90 when I was collecting at the time. Got it as like a wall book, and just kept it in my collection. Took good care of it. And there's been some aging, and the book has, I think it's off-white to white, but overall the condition's still pretty good. Not a lot of spine ticks. Corners are still sharp. Overall, a near copy. So happy with the grade there, 9.0, and just such a iconic book. All right, we're now going to the top book in my collection, and this one is just one of, I gotta say, this is just the second. Yeah, it's the second favorite book in the collection. When you talk about how iconic the first suit appearance is, it is great. But for me, this is a book that I actually, not this copy I got when I got back into collecting, but when I first started collecting, this is a book, I got off the newsstand and read and loved. I didn't own, because my parents didn't buy me a lot of comics, I didn't own every issue in this limited series. So when I got this book, I really had no inkling of what happened before or after. But there was a lot going on in this particular book, so that kept me engaged. But The thing I remember most, of course, is the fact that, Peter's suit gets damaged, and he's kind of looking to change and to keep his identity hidden, and then this material that Reed Richards is kind of like looking at and examining gets kind of senses what Peter's wanting, and just kind of takes over and becomes the suit. And that moment, this great Mike Zeck cover just sort of captures that moment there. And this is the origin of the symbiote. Alright, well, taking a lot of time for this video. It's 20 of the top 20 Spider-Man covers in my collection. I hope you enjoyed the books as much as I enjoyed kind of showing them off. But thanks for watching, and tune in for my next comic book, cover top cover list, which will be the X-Men. I'm gonna go over my X-Men covers, and there's gonna be a lot of Jim Lee. Let me just give me that preface the upcoming video with that thought. It's gonna be a lot of Jim Lee in the X-Men top covers list. Alright, well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace out.